All right, so we're grateful to everybody for having been here in what has obviously been an incredibly traumatic and difficult year. Um, we wish we could have been together in person, as would have been the case back in June, but for COVID-19. And we're hoping that next year will still be possible to get back together again. Everybody has got to be concerned about their welfare, and so thank you to Zoom and new technology for making it possible to get us together in our own little antiseptic thumbnails. Um, New technology brings new opportunities, but it's also got a lot of challenges with it. We're going to hope to get through this Zoom broadcast with a minimum of technical glitches. I'd like to begin by recognizing several of the people who are on the call with us. Not the speakers, we're going to get to them a little bit further along, but our board chairman, Dr. Anthony Mumphrey, is here. And Tony, I see you're unmuted.
Good morning, everyone.
Glad to have you here, and appreciate all you've done for us over the years to help the Public Law Center and the Drafting Institute do what we've been able to do. We've also got two familiar faces from prior institutes, my wife, Jane Johnson, and her sister, Jean Johnson. Hi, ladies.
Hello, y'all. Good to see old
Good to see
friends.
everybody.
Good to see you again.
Everyone's looking good.
Next year in person, rock and bowl and other fun events. So we had big plans for the 2020 Institute, not the least of which was to debut our new publication, the International Legislative Drafting Guidebook, a 25th anniversary celebration. And this is my first look at it. I am literally getting the shrink wrap off. We have put a button on the website for people to purchase it directly from Carolina Academic Press. It's got a lot of lovely features in it, not least of which are 18 spectacular articles by the speakers and authors that have been enriching the Drafting Institute for years. But we've also got a photo gallery, and many of you from prior years will be able, when you get the actual book, to recognize yourself there. One of the articles that we want to start talking about is the one by our very own Assistant Director, Idella. And it's an article about drafting legislation to create an agency, board, or commission. This is a familiar topic to people who have been as participants in the Drafting Institute before. And I'll just let Idella talk a little bit about what's in the article.
Yeah, as David said, this is something that some of you all have heard me present in the Institute. It didn't occur for every institute, but for a lot of them. And part of it in the article, we discussed the whirlybird, which I think everybody in the Institute that has participated has seen us give examples of the whirlybird. And in the article, I mentioned that there is now an electronic device, app on the internet, different ones. One is Mind Map that you can use instead of handwriting the whirlybird like we would always do in class. There's now an app that you can use, or several apps that you can use that do it for you. So we talk about that. But this is one of those topics that when we first came across it, I initially thought it was, oh, why are we even bothering with this? And then after I heard the presenter, it was something that exploded. There was so much to it that I had never considered. So I'm hoping that's what the article does for you all. We added a fiscal analysis, some examples of fiscal analysis in it for y'all, their checklist, and there's also internet resources that are provided as appendices in the article. So we hope you enjoyed this article and some of the rest of ones that you're going to hear about.
Good. So right after that section in the book is one called Reflections. And that name is derived from an article that Garth Thornton did, Reflections on a Career in Legislative Drafting. You can't see it, obviously. But perhaps you can see as well the in memoriam sections that we've got for both Garth and Richard Wydick, who were both such an important part of the Institute over a period of many years. This was Garth at the Institute where he was our honoree, and photos and a brief description of his role with the Institute. And this is the in memoriam section with Dick Wydick, and on the page immediately behind it, this lovely photo of all the participants in the particular year when Dick wasn't able to join us as a speaker. And they're holding up a sign that says, "Best wishes from New Orleans, Professor Wydick." So this book, in addition to representing the distilled wisdom of 18 longtime Drafting Institute speakers, is also a very personal book with photographs of prior institutes, reflections on from Garth Thornton and on Garth and Dick Wydick and Steve Meyer and John Kramer. You'll also find the photos in some of the photos in a photo montage that we're going to do just momentarily. So we thought we would give everyone a reminder of what the Institute was like back in the day when we could all join in and participate. And for that, we're going to ask Norwood Sears, who's our technical guru, to share the screen with us and take us to the Ildi website. And we're going to screen the Institute video that was done in connection with our 20th anniversary Institute. Okay, here we go. Let's roll that video. And we need the sound up nice and high on it, Norwood.
Yes, sir.
Okay, there we go. Oh, no, okay. Well, it's got a musical backdrop. Doesn't seem to want to come through.
There's a setting, share computer sound. I think Norwood needs to do share computer sound.
Ah, maybe that.
Maybe that's the problem.
Yeah, go to audio settings, share computer sound.
You said audio settings and then said share computer sound?
I think so, yeah. I'm not sure where it is, but it might be, it's definitely share computer sound. The question is, where is it? Let's see.
Right.
It's definitely, try that little setting button at the bottom, maybe. Or is that on YouTube itself? It's when you go to share screen, there's a little button that you press. Try audio. Oh, was it there? Hang on.
Oh, sorry. I'm moving too fast.
I've made this problem. I've seen this problem before. Try go to your okay. Let's see. Where is it? Advanced. Click advanced. Nope, that's not it. Share screen. Maybe go to the left to share screen. The left menu. Where the hell is it?
Well, we thought we might have a
Advanced?
technical problem or two.
Damn it. Oh, general maybe? Try general?
Would you like me to try to share my screen, David, to see if it works?
Yeah.
Okay.
Or me, since I might be able to figure it out too.
Okay.
But you have to give me permission to share if I'm going to do
Well,
it.
let's do this, Nora. Why don't you back out of share screen, and Idella can probably bring it up and play it from her.
Yeah.
monitor.
Sure.
Hold on. Let me bring it up.
Many apologies. I wasn't expecting that.
Well, it's a good thing though to anticipate with the other one, perhaps. You have a second video that we want to show.
Okay.
In fact, Norwood, while Idella is getting the Ildi video up, maybe we could go back to the website and we can point out the click the purchase button that you can all share with your friends and colleagues. You'll see here down on the bottom left, there is a copy of the book title, and just below that, lift it up just a little more, please. There, click to buy the guidebook today over on the left side. So we're hoping that as people join the website, they will get the opportunity to purchase copies of the guidebook. All right. Now, I want to kind of give it another try here. Okay.
Great.
You are the queen of the little red, white, and blue. You are the queen of the little red, white, and blue. Said, ooh, why, bye, boy. Tell yourself, die, boy. Get a feeling, got strong power. You know better than to mess with me. Like a rival, like a rival, see a spy boy.
Okay. Well, that's on our website and can probably be viewed more easily and with better auditory directly. Two things about it. We want everybody to ignore the date at the end. That was the date back when we did it for our 20th anniversary event. The dates of the Institute in 2021 are the 14th through the 25th. The other observation I'll make is that you saw a photograph, not a photograph, a video in there of Cedric Richmond, who is our U.S. congressional representative here in the city of New Orleans. Cedric has been really generous with his time in coming to recent institutes and speaking with participants. We're about to lose him as a congressman to the Joe Biden White House. He's going to join the president-elect as a senior White House advisor. We hope we will still be able to bring Cedric back to the Institute, but we're nonetheless, whatever transpires, very grateful to have had as much of his time as we had in the past. So Idella and I thought we might take a moment to brief everybody on the possibility of the 2021 Institute. I say that because we're moving ahead, making plans. The only thing that's sure and certain is that if we don't start making plans now, we won't have an institute in June of 2021. We can't predict the state of the pandemic half a year from now, but we're hoping that with the arrival of the vaccine and some equitable distribution of it around the globe, there may be an opportunity to actually meet again in New Orleans in June. And so we thought we would share information about that institute and encourage everyone who is interested in registering to go online at the website, register their interest. It's a no cost, no obligation option. But Idella and I will be monitoring the status of the pandemic, and we'll probably push the button one way or another by about March or April to commit to either staging the event or not. But in anticipation of it, perhaps Idella, you could brief everybody about the plans that we have for 2021.
Well, we have.
You need to be a little louder, I think. We're not hearing you. Audio.
We have entered into a contract with the Fairfield.
I'm still getting it as very, very dim audio. Maybe the.
Is this better?
Maybe you should need to close the video.
Can you hear me now? Is this better now?
No. Is anybody else having trouble hearing Idella? Yes.
Okay.
Okay.
Yes, there's the trouble. We can't hear it.
Okay. So how about now?
It's a little bit better, but still kind of going to be straining.
Well, I haven't done anything different. I took the video off, so I'm not quite sure what else I can do.
Well, I may have to fill in here because my audio might be working better. But continue to look at it, Idella. If you can figure out what the hang up is, we'll get you back in the game. The dates on next year's Institute are June the 14th through the 25th. We're going to be back at the Fairfield Inn and Suites, and they've given us a really good rate, $110 a night. We want to remind any of the graduates of the Institute that we do have a reduced tuition rate for everyone. Former graduates can register for a $2,500 return visit to the Institute. We'd be just delighted to see you all, some of you back here. There is a frequently asked questions site at the Institute website. It will hopefully resolve some of the issues that people may have about visa and travel arrangements. Our principal suggestion to you is don't make any major financial commitments like airfare until March or April, when we are able to better determine the state of everyone's health and global health in June of next year. But do go in and register if you are a potential participant who hasn't been to the Institute before, or if you're an Institute graduate who's thinking about coming back. Go ahead and register your interest, and you'll be the first to get updates about whether it's what's been happening in preparation for it. Here at Tulane, we have been masked up since the spring of last year, and our classes have been conducted remotely. And considering all of the challenges, I would say the semester has gone pretty well. And Idella and I were very pleased with the product that we got out of our students in the legislative and administrative advocacy course. So let me turn to another of our authors and speakers, and that's Phil Knight. And I see, Phil, if you'll unmute yourself, there's a new beard in town. I reached out to Phil in anticipation of today's event with the suggestion that we deal with 3 subjects, all starting with P: photography, poetry, and his beloved Porsche automobile. And asked Phil also to cull through some of his photographic archives and share them with us so that we could share them with you in a little photo montage that will roll in just a minute, but not yet. How are things in Vancouver, Phil?
David, thanks. It's first of all, things are just fine, and it's not a beard. It's just, COVID lockdown. My razor has gone AWOL. Can't be helped, really. But this season, people are saying it looks like you're here early. So if I spread it out just a little bit, I could pass for the big guy.
Yep. Well,
things are just great, David, and thank you for organizing this. And I don't think we'll talk photography, but I'm happy to have shared photos of past institutes, and I hope they look good in the video. And the poetry David mentioned is a reference to a new little volume that I have put out called Vision 2020, and it's not on the Ildi website, nor should it be. But if you wanted it, you could write to me, and I'll happily send you the PDF link. And the Porsche is just fine, David. Thank you.
Thank you, Phil. And let me ask Norwood to please take us to the photo montage that I have to tell you, Norwood was up until midnight and beyond putting together for us last night. So hopefully this will roll without any glitches.
Yeah, I hope so, Doc.
There we go. We need to start the video and the sound.
Yes, sir. And shared sound, and here, and
good. Whoop, no sound. There it comes. Okay. Thank you, Norwood, for a lot of effort last evening putting that together. And we're back. There've been a number of other speakers who have joined us, and we want to start with two of them next. Ask you to unmute your mics, Donald Ravel and Jessica Vapnik. And Don and Jessica have just published an article about gender silent legislative drafting. I'll ask you, Don, if you would, to talk a little bit about the number of hits that you've gotten since it debuted.
Okay, that's easy. Now, this is from three sources. We've got the Law Review website, the SSNR website, and Hein Online. And it looks like we've got 1,530 accesses to the file and 375 downloads, which we're quite pleased with. The paper was, I put a note on the chat line. The paper is called Gender Silent Legislative Drafting in a Non-Binary World. And it's published on the
Here it is on SSRN.
And it's on SSRN and download free. And it's really, I think it's a good paper. Maybe Jessica could just give a little bit of an outline of what the paper is about, and then I'll talk maybe a bit about the some of the other things that are in the paper. How's that do?
Well, actually, what I'm going to do is use this opportunity to demonstrate a really valuable resource.
Okay.
Hopefully, our viewers are familiar with it already, but if not, they need to know that SSRN is where law professors send their articles to reside after they've published them somewhere, and non-law professors as well. And if you go to the ssrn.com website and put in either Ravel or Vapnik, it will take you to this. And if you click on Gender Silent Legislative Drafting in a Non-Binary World, you'll get the opportunity to either download the paper, or what I'm going to do with it, open a PDF in browser. And if the internet doesn't fail us, it should open up momentarily. Yeah, it's trying to do it. Now it is. And you'll see right here, you can read Don and Jessica and their brand new article about an intriguing area of drafting. So Jessica, how are things on the West Coast?
Oh, totally fine. It's foggy out here in San Francisco, which is typical. It's great to see everyone, and I wish we could be in New Orleans for this, but at least we're together virtually. I'll be happy to say a couple words about the article, but before I do that, there's one thing that I wanted to say, which is that, which David didn't mention, which is that this paper arose because of the catalyst of the Institute, meaning that although Don and I had met, we happened to be sitting next to each other at this particular lunch or dinner. I don't remember now. I think it might have been dinner at the Commander's Palace. And we're chatting about various things. And Don said, I'm thinking of writing this article. And I said, oh, can I help? I love writing articles. And so that's how it all began. So it's the Institute that really brought us together to draft this article together. And I think we were a great team. Mostly Don's ideas and me tinkering around the edges, editing and adding footnotes. Anyway, so
I'm gonna take it back and thank you both for that, and bring people to a couple of other of our speakers who I know only because of the influence of the Institute. And if Pius and Estelle are both on the call and can unmute their microphones, I'll just point out that both of them have also got articles in here, but I wanted mostly to talk about how we met, which was at a conference in Uganda, the Africa Colloquium, where Pius was the organizer of it. Estelle was a speaker, as I was. And I have here a little photo of myself and Pius. Whoops. That's not showing up very well. It's because I lost the light, I guess. Anyway, it's a photo of us on a boat crossing Lake Victoria. And Estelle, you were on that boat ride as well, and I remember it fondly. We
Yes.
were together chatting the whole way.
That's right. That's right. And it was a very pleasant excursion, as I recall. And it just brought into sharp focus what drafters have in common. It was a wonderful gathering of drafters from various countries there to share their experiences and just enrich their knowledge.
Mhm.
And in fact, it was a wonderful opportunity for me to meet with David and also to share the fact that I was aware of the course, but I had no idea that he would end up inviting me to be a resource person on the course. And this has resulted in me participating twice and also contributing this article on climate change and drafting environmental legislation. So I'm just happy for the opportunity, and I look forward to the chance for us all to get together again, not virtually, but to participate as a group and to share our experiences.
Well, thank you, Estelle, and we're delighted to have had you back multiple times and as a speaker. And I don't know if Pius is with us. Are you here, Pius? Can you unmute?
I have
Pius Barry Bonwaha is apparently not able to join us, although he had said he might. But thank you, Estelle. And I'll ask now Mohammed and Frank Emmert to unmute their mics. We first met at the three of us at
Yes,
Artesia Island at a conference that you had organized, Mohammed.
indeed. And let me first say how grateful I am to Professor David Marcello. He is the reason I see my mother-in-law every summer for the last 6 years and so, since 2014 when we first met. Indeed, I organized the conference on legislative drafting, and I thought, well, who would be a better person, scholar, and professor to talk about legislative drafting than David Marcello. And then in 2018, I did the same with more focused agenda. In 2018, I invited Professor David Marcello to Doha, Qatar, to tell us, as part of the conference that I organized with the International Association of Law Schools, I asked Professor David to tell us how should we design a course on legislative drafting. Guess what? Now we have a specific course on legislative drafting, thanks to Professor David, thanks to the Institute. And also this coming semester, spring 2021, I will be teaching a doctorate course on comparative legal systems. I devoted a week for legislative drafting between common law and civil law. And I'm seeking ideas here, if you have ideas to help me address the issue of legislative drafting, how it's different in a country like the United States than a country like France. I come to the Institute every year and I focus on drafting human rights legislation with special focus on human trafficking. So I am one of the 18, thank God, who contributed to this lovely books. I wrote a chapter on binding rules and guiding rules, soft law, in the area of legislative drafting in human trafficking legislation around the world.
We'll hope
Happy to be with you.
Have everyone back together at the Institute trading ideas.
Happy,
and Frank,
happy
that
to
will
be with you.
include you and your article
you.
about judicial systems, Frank Emmert.
Thank
you. I want to also thank everyone, David, Idella, and everyone else on the team for this opportunity. I joined, I think, the first time together with Mohammed Mata, right? After our meeting there in Sicily. And I must say, this has really been a fruitful couple of years. We have done a number of projects, not only coming together in June. And I think this is really a key thing for everyone to remember. I had another meeting earlier today with an old friend in another part of the world. And we were sort of pondering what is good and bad about the pandemic, right? There are certain benefits, even though it may be hard to see the good things. My family certainly appreciates that I travel less, right? We are polluting as a species a little bit less because we are using fewer resources on transportation and so forth. But there are also downsides that are not health related. One of the downsides is that we can't meet. And at conferences, maybe the presentations could be done on Zoom, but we can't have those coffee break conversations where we are trading these ideas, where we are exploring, well, what have you been up to? What are you working on? Is there this or that project we could do together? And I miss that, right? And the Institute has always been one of those fertile grounds. And I really look forward to seeing people live again and having those, casual conversations, whether it's at Rock and Bowl or some other place, right? It doesn't have to be just a coffee.
I agree with you, Frank.
It's really, really important to meet people and trade ideas that we don't have, sort of in the official settings. So,
We're going to continue to have a large carbon footprint on the world, bringing everybody together in New Orleans. And thanks to all of you who've contributed that in the past. Let me ask Bruce now, who's been shut up in his house in Colorado for probably longer and not off the globe on an airplane. How's it been, Bruce?
Well, it's been strange. And I'm just taken from listening to everybody today, how exciting it is to be around other drafters and other people connected to the Institute. I was lucky to get to Australia early in the year, so that took care of some of the travel, but I really have. It's probably the first time in over 25 years that I haven't been off teaching drafting somewhere. And I miss, just as various speakers have mentioned, I miss that time together. But it's a time to reorient. If anything, as humans, we've got to adapt. And my adaptation has been toward more volunteering closer to home. I am getting out of the house, but just in the area for hospice and animal shelter and working with troubled kids. And it's just a reminder to us to put effort wherever we can. Sometimes avenues are shut off, but find those avenues that are open to us and give them a try and put our efforts there. So great to see everybody. I really appreciate it. Mohammed, I may be seeking you later. I may be on a human trafficking project, anti-human trafficking project in Belize. So I'm gonna try and get your your connection. Information for where to connect with you. But anyway, great to see everybody. And even this virtual connection is just bringing me almost to tears, to be honest with you. So I'll leave before I start crying.
Thank you, Bruce. We've got a lot of well-traveled people on this call, possibly none more so than Jessica, who's been to 89 or 90 countries last I heard. Mohammed would certainly be in that number of well-traveled folks, and Frank Emmert. You're all kind of like Drew Brees and Tom Brady competing for the most number of passes in your career. Poor Drew got sidelined and Brady's motoring on away from him. But all of you are sidelined now. When we get back together again in New Orleans next year, you can compare notches on your belt. How many more countries have you been to? Let me ask to join us at this point, Michelle Hall, who is one of my former colleagues here at the law school at Tulane. Michelle has an article about environmental matters, and I keep, in order to remind me of the environmental problems that Louisiana faces, this little sculpture on the shelf behind me. It's a tree going, "Oh, woe am I." What can we tell people, Michelle, about the environment and the coastline in Louisiana?
Well, we have an extremely complex set of problems in Louisiana with our coastline being lost to us for a lot of reasons, including climate change, including canals, including oil and gas canals, and including walling off the river. And so I hope that our own legislatures here in both federal and state can learn from the tools that everyone has added in this book to try to deal with some of these extremely complex problems of saving our coast, rebuilding our coast, and learning how to live differently with water than we have in the past. So it's exciting.
I was going to volunteer that Michelle shares a section in the book called Saving the Globe, and shares it with Estelle and Jessica, who have written about environmental treaties and about agriculture. Obviously, all of those activities have a lot of impact. Well, another of our speakers who's joined us is Susan Hudson, who is the independent police monitor here in New Orleans. And Susan, it's been a yeasty year with encounters between police and members of the public. I'm just wondering what your observations might be about that.
Well, yeah, first of all, just thank you, David and Idell, for having me and inviting me. Congratulations on the publication of the guidebook in 25 years.
Thank you.
And thank you for including me in it. And I'd be much remiss if I don't say hi to Jane Johnson. We go way back, so I just want to say hi to Jane. But yeah, it has been just an amazing year. May 25th changed everything in this business. And I look forward to sharing some of that with your students in the future. Right now, locally, we're making gigantic changes to our criminal justice system. We have a new progressive prosecutor. Our city council is banning certain things in police departments, such as tear gas, and we're looking at publishing data about policing that was never published in the past. So surveillance ordinances. So a lot is going on right now, and I do really look forward to sharing that with your students in the future. And I just want to say thank you to your students as well. I teach, but I learn a lot and when I come to the Institute as well about how police are held accountable all over the world. So just kudos to your students as well, and I look forward to being involved.
Great. Thank you for joining us. Well, okay, we are going to have a few little farewell comments and then go to a musical interlude that I think you'll enjoy as we finish this out. But I want to make a special thanks to the technical guru who supported us throughout this process, Norwood Sears, who's here at the law school, except not literally here at the law school today because we're all someplace else. Norwood has actually just come through a bout of COVID-19 and was available to us despite his illness to help with the videos and a whole host of technical questions that we had to grapple with. So through the coughs and the congestion and the fever and the body aches, we really do appreciate your having been there for us, and thank you.
No problem, Doc.
I'm wondering, is Sybil Morial on the call with us? We had asked Sybil to join us. And, if so, Sybil, you should unmute your mic and we can chat a bit. I think she also had a bit of a conflict at 11:45, so we are probably just bumping up against that. And so we'll not, as a consequence, hear from the vice chair of the Public Law Center Board, Sybil Morial. So we just want to say in closing that we are awfully pleased to have had all of you join us. It means a lot. As Bruce has said, I think it's an emotional encounter for us all. I would say that our roles as legislative drafters have perhaps never been more important when we are in a season that depends utterly on an equitable distribution of vaccines around the globe, an enterprise in which government can play a huge role and drafters likewise. So we would like to think that the Institute will be back online and contributing to the quality of legislative drafting in 2021. And we also would think that in the absence of the Institute, this book is available, and we would like to ask your help in disseminating information about it. It ought to be a standard text in every law library, in every legislative drafting office. There's a lot there to reward people from visiting it repeatedly. And so we would encourage you to spread the information, help us get the word out and around the globe. Some of you may know people who would want to do a review of the book, and that would certainly help. Don has assisted us in locating a reviewer who will be coming out with something soon enough in 2021. All of those things will help to get the word around. So law libraries, mention it to law librarians, professional colleagues, mention it everywhere. Thus concludes the shameless commerce portion of this Zoomcast. All right, we do have one final musical interlude. This is our chance to wave goodbye, and we're going to ask Norwood to roll tape here. I'm going to talk over the slide here, although this is the end of our show, to just tell you that Jessica asked for a link to that lovely video. It is by the Better Together Orchestra, playing Ode to Joy. Better Together Orchestra, Ode to Joy. Thanks to everyone, and we'll just leave the slide on here if people want to make a note about how to communicate with the website or our email address.
Goodbye, everyone. Good show.
Bye, everyone. Thank you.
Bye, everyone. Thank you.
Really appreciate it. Bye-bye.
Yeah, thanks, David.
Thank you.
And good to
Thank
see you,
you.
David, Estelle, and everybody.
Bye-bye.
Bye now.
Bye-bye, 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 everybody from Estelle.
Bye.
Hi, everyone. We will be putting, can you hear me, David?
You're kind of muted, Idella. I don't know what happened to your audio. It went out on us, but
Della,
we
just
have our
yell.
technical challenges.
We're going
We
to
got through it okay.
a link into of this Zoom call, and we'll send it to everybody when we get it together.
Okay.